Hello! Hi guys! Thanks for coming tonight. So we're gonna have like a two-part thing this time around, and I'm gonna open up some packs that I found at Walmart the other day that I got kind of excited about and then successfully only left the store with 3 of. And then I'm gonna open up the floor for any questions regarding altering cards or materials or any of that kind of stuff that you might have questions on. But yeah, so we're just going to jump right in. I also might have had a moment of weakness. I did play the game in real life for a couple of years, but I don't currently play, just casually with friends. But I played competitively during the Duelist Alliance format with Shaddolls and Burning Abyss and Clifford and all that jazz. But anyway, so we've got a spell, not magic, ruler, we've got an Invasion of Chaos, and we've got a Legend of the Blue Eyes. And I also might have accidentally ordered this on Amazon the other day, because even though most of the cards are bad, I love the Hidden Arsenal stuff. So anyway, we'll just kind of get started. These were blisters in Walmart. I went there looking for Legendary Collection Kaiba just to, you know, tempt myself, and got there to discover they were all sold out. But that's fine, because then I saw these, and of course had a moment of panic, because I was like, oh no, I just got back from Hobby Lobby and spent all my money there. So yeah, they have some rares and commons, and then the pack. These are all unlimited. I believe that these got like a reprint, re-release in 2010. But anyway, so they're not like the old ones, but considering it's 2018, that's still decently old. And then these were the extras. That's pretty funny. I'm also notoriously bad about talking too fast, so if I do that, please feel free to be like, slow down in the comments, and I will do my best. But yeah, so, Spell Ruler, here we go. Who's ready? Also, I apologize in advance for my hands. I feel like they're kind of nasty because I have cats who have claws, and that tends to always not work out in my favor. Alright. Wow. Did anyone else just get hit with a wave of nostalgia upon seeing that? That's... oh, man. Oh, look! We started off with our no longer really usable Upstart. And a Messenger of Peace, guys! There was a foil in this pack! Oh, how great is that? Wow! That's not a bad start at all! Awesome! Oh man, wow. And a wall shadow! Who remembers this in the anime? It was so creepy. Ha! Oh man. And a Griggle, which is a great name. That's such a great starting pack, guys! Wow! Awesome! Okay, cool, cool. Alright, what do you think? What's next? Invasion of Chaos? Kind of work our way to Blue Eyes. I feel like that's the way to do this. Wow, okay. Blister. Don't give me a blister. Oh, look! It came with a Twin Cyber Dragon! I don't even think I have that card anymore. I think it might have not survived a purge I had a couple years ago. Okay, so just the extras that came with it. We got a Twin Cyber Dragon. Never a bad... and a Cybernova Dragon! Wow, guys! These blisters are, like, not half bad! Those are playable cards! I mean, not, like, meta, but useful! I've never seen that artwork before. Oh, no. The girls had a fight. Okay, moving along. Two in the same box. Cool. Oh my gosh. That's hilarious. We're coming back to you, Mild Turkey. You're funny. Okay. Alright. Invasion of Chaos. Here we go. Got my little plushy entourage up here. Oh, Soul Tiger. Guys, there's so much nostalgia. Wow. Primal Seed! Ah! Dude, that's kind of scary. That's like eating skull. That's terrifying. Oh my gosh. I actually accidentally got a playset of these in the mail one time when I ordered something completely different off eBay. Fun story for you. Wow. Salvage! That's a real card too! Useful tech every now and then. For your water decks. Wow! Cool! I might have to paint this. I hope no one will get mad at me for it. I mean, look at it. Okay. Okay. What do you think? Should we crack the hidden arsenal now, or go ahead and go with blue eyes? I'm gonna go ahead and break the plastic off this. Maybe, maybe not. Grab my handy X-Acto knife. Alright. Who else loved the hidden arsenal stuff? Like, you know, we've got like Naturias in here and worms. What do you think? What did we get? Let's see. There are 2 promo options. Pineapple or an XX Saber. I'm personally hoping for a pineapple just because it's a pineapple, but let's see. What did we get? We got the other one! That's fine. Alright, alright. Let's see. A lot of people are saying blue eyes, so I will just fan these out here so that you can be excited about the potential that they hold, and we will crack the blue eyes blister. I'm trying to do that thing where I pay attention to the chat. If you've been on a stream with me before, you know I'm not the best at multitasking. But really, who is? I mean, other than, like, you know, moms. Gotta give props to our moms for their abilities to multitask. I am not a mom, therefore I have not yet acquired that gift. Oh, it's a maiden! Did she get reprinted as a secret? She did, right? In collection? In Legendary Kaiba Legendary Collection? And an Azure Eyes. Guys! I really expected all of the extras in these blisters to be garbage, but they're not half bad. I've always thought this had beautiful artwork. And this. No complaints here. That's really pretty artwork. Okay, sorry. I know you guys are like, get to the blue eyes! And I'm just like, oh look, a common that I've never seen. I think she was in almost every pack. That's kind of funny. Alright. Who's ready to, hi! Who's ready to, go down memory lane with me? Oh, man. Okay. Legend of the Blue Eyes, White Dragon. We've got Flame Manipulator. Yummy! I played this in, like, my very first deck when I was all of, you know, single-digit age. And it was a spellcaster deck, and it powered up my mystical elf. And I was just like, haha, eat it, because they'd always run into her when she was in defense mode, and I just thought I was the coolest person. And then I realized later in life that I was playing half the rules wrong. But didn't we all? Wow. He's got some fun story history. If you ever just need to kill 15 minutes, you should Google him and read through his trivia on the wiki. It's fun. Alright. Alright. Hidden Arsenal. Okay. I guess we'll just go down the line. We'll start with... Oh, gosh. We got 3, 2, and 1. We'll start with 1. We'll go in order. We'll go in order. Okay. These are the, you know... Oh! Ah! Guys! Guys! Did you... Ooh, okay. We pulled a secret Brionic. Oh my gosh, that's like the best one you can pull from this. The best one! Ah! Oh my gosh, it's so pretty. Ah! I don't have this one. I have Gungnir and I have Trish, but I didn't have a Brionic. Oh my, I'm sorry, I'm having a moment here. He's so pretty! Oh! Wow. Oh my gosh, my impulse buys on Amazon finally paid off. That is so awesome. Oh, yes. Okay. There are other cards. We're going to just put him here so that he can, you know, have a moment in the spotlight. Okay. We got a worm. Another X-Saber. Berserker Crush. and Blizzard Warrior. I am a big fan of these all foil sets. Cat Invasion. No. Back. Okay. I am a fan of them. These Secret Forces, you know, all that jazz. It's like, oh, I get a pack of all foil cards. I don't care if most of them are garbage. I'm just excited to get all foil cards. Guys, we pulled a Brionic. That was really great. Okay. That's an amazing pull, too. Oh, my gosh. Okay, all right. Sorry, I'm having a coordination problem here. There we go. Okay, Hidden Arsenal 2. Be funny if we pulled a DeLorean. Anyone? We did not. Ooh, a Dirac Tyrannus. He is so shiny. Oh, much shine. Much Dirac. Another worm. Another Dirac. It's gonna eat your face. Another Dirac. Did any of you... Oh, and a Naturia. Look at him. He's so fun. I'm very pleased with pulling any Naturia stuff, because... Naturia. Okay. And then, our last pack, before we transition over to the art supply discussion. So have your questions ready. Hidden Arsenal 3. Honestly, I'd be okay with pulling some, well, anything, if I can get the pack open. Okay. Dirac Titano. Look at him. Every time I see these cards, it reminds me, I don't know if anyone, if any of you would be familiar, but there was a YouTuber a few years back who did these absolutely hilarious, duels videos with like toys that he animated having duels against each other with like different meta relevant decks at that time. And X Stevens, that was his name. If you just need to like go spend an evening on YouTube sometime, look him up. He's hilarious. He hasn't made any movies in a few years, but it's still something I like to revisit from time to time. And every time I see the Dirac monsters, I think of those. Dudark! Okay, so most people probably don't know who Dudark is, but I have like a token burn deck that I use when I'm teaching friends how to play, because it's just a simple, easy to get your mind around deck, and Dudark is in that for the stabbing. An ugly worm, a cat invasion, a Gen X crusher, and a worm. Solid. Got a cat butt in my... Hey. Okay. Well, those are the packs. The LOB card was the Dark Emperor Abyss dude. Let's see. Dark King of the Abyss. He and Dahes might have a fun story. Okay. So, we got some foils here. I'm gonna sleeve real quick. Chain Disappearance, we'll keep in mind that he's in here. Okay. And we pulled a Messenger of Peace. I mean, that was like kind of cool, right? Yeah. And an Upstart. Yeah. All right. Those are all the packs. All the packs for today. But I am now happy to start answering altering questions while I get these sleeved. If you guys want to start throwing them my way, I'm literally just throwing all of my trash on the floor. Don't tell anyone. But yeah. Altering. What do you got? Half the people leave. I'm like, okay, we watched the pack opening, we're out. Oh, that's fine. So I'll just start monologuing until I see specific questions in the chat. But I started altering cards in 2014. Yes. And I started off using markers because at that point in time, people were allowed to use altered cards in tournament play, at regionals and stuff like that, if so long as the head judge okayed it and all of the text was legible on the card, all the original text. So I used marker so that they would dry completely flat and you couldn't feel anything through the sleeve. And if you look at a lot of my older ones, they were done with like the copyright and set number and code all still visible as part of that. Everything has to be visible deal. But for permanent, I use permanent markers, Sharpies and Bics, and I actually have them right here. Everyone should know what a Sharpie is, but Sharpies, and then Bics are over here. Bic markets. I think they call them Bic markings now. Yeah, I think I've even got them both ways. But that's the... Yeah, let's see if I can find one that's not completely rubbed off. There we go. So Bic markets, focus camera, which are now rebranded as Bic marking, but it's the same thing. And then Sharpies. Marker works really well on especially dark background cards, but I like altering both Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon. Pokemon is fun because they tend to have more creative backgrounds, but Yu-Gi-Oh! Is fun because it's Yu-Gi-Oh! And it's nostalgic and you can still play with them sometimes if you have a nice judge. So, you know, there's that. But yeah, those are the markers I use. Okay, and now I'm going to scroll up through the chat to see what questions I missed. Always a trouble I have, how to get acrylic paint to stay even from the part of the card you left to the part you altered. I'm not quite sure I understand what you're asking there. If you could clarify that for me a bit, I'll try and answer, but I'm not quite sure what you're asking. Yeah. Yeah, okay. So Sharpies and Bics and Trolls. Cool. Maybe, okay, so I think I it's okay, hon. I started altering cards. Someone that I played with back at that point in time randomly had an altered card, and I was like, oh, that's cool, what's that? And they explained it to me, and then told me that they paid $80 for it, and I was like, holy crap, well, I can do that for considerably less. And so that's what I started doing. I started altering cards just because I could, and then I continued doing it because I realized how much fun it was. And at the time, I kind of was one of the forerunners, I guess, of like stripping the entire card and altering it so that the shine was all the way around. I know some people on YouTube have stripped cards and stuff like that before, but no one else really did the whole shebang. That was kind of something that I figured out and started. I have heard of Peanut Brits. I think I'm following her on Instagram. She's really cool. Yeah, I charge way less than a lot of other people did. But part of that's because, well, actually the biggest part is because I know a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh! Players, while there are some that can afford more, a lot are younger and can't afford more, so I try to keep my prices in like a middle balance. I normally make less than minimum wage on an average commission. I don't think people realize that, and it makes it even harder when they ask for a discount than when they order in bulk, because it's like, oh, you want me to make like even less than $7 an hour? Great, no, I'm not going to do that. But yeah, the way I charge normally, it's based on what you want done and how detailed the card is and how many things I have to work around. So for just like a paint extension, you're going to be looking at about $25 for an average card, maybe a little more if it's really detailed. For a stripped extension, I charge an extra $10 to strip it. Some cards strip really easily and it only takes me 15 minutes. Some cards don't, and it can take upwards of an hour just to strip it before I start working on it. So I kind of just say $10 and that kind of covers the difference. So an average card is going to be between $25 to $40 depending on the level of detail for paint or stripped extensions. For marker extensions, those tend to range between $12 to $20 because they go a lot faster, because you don't have to build up as many layers as you do with paint. Okay, when I extend my paint, the paint tends to be thicker depending on the layers I do, and the actual image on the card I'm extending is a whole different gloss and flatness. Okay, yes, the textures. All right. So actually, yeah, that was something I wanted to talk about. I use several different kinds of paint, and I promise I'm going to get back to your question because I think I understand what you're asking now. And I use different kinds of paint depending on the effect that I want to get. So some paints are going to dry with a matte finish, and some are going to dry it with a gloss finish. Here's a Neo that I have taped off, and I think what you're talking about is how like you can see the texture difference here. This is just an apple barrel acrylic that I've probably had for 15 years. And this is just like the first single layer. And this brand, and actually most craft acrylic brands that you'll find, like Folk Art and stuff like that, are going to dry with this matte texture. It's kind of, I don't want to say chalky, but it's like a matte texture. There are other brands out there that actually dry with a gloss texture. Vanilla, I still haven't gotten around to finishing, but you can kind of see it on vanilla here. This has, these are my Artscape acrylics, and they have more of a gloss finish. And I prefer the gloss finish. I think that it kind of transitions into the shine of the card a bit more naturally than the matte does. However, if you're just doing a paint extension and you're not trying to incorporate marker on like a foil, anytime that you do just paint, you can actually, it doesn't matter what kind of paint you use, because you can finish off the card with a protective spray, either a gloss or matte sealant, that'll make the entire thing uniform. I still haven't found a finishing spray that doesn't react with the alcohol markers that I use for the foils extensions, so I can't give you any advice on that. But for just paint extensions, if you want it to have like a uniform finish when you're done, let's see if I have one here. Then you can spray it. This might be, let's see here. I don't remember if I used finish on luster or not. I did, okay. So Luster Dragon here has a gloss finish on him, and the entire thing had been done in a mix of the matte and gloss acrylics, and so the gloss finish gave it a nice uniform finish where you can't even see where the original artwork stopped and mine started. Also, it has a fun iridescent layer on its lustriness. Yeah, so you can, there are a couple different ways you can get around that. You can either just work really thin. Here's a finished Neo as an example. So actually I'm doing the same process on this one, where I'm using a matte to just kind of get my base color down and color up the, cover up all of the lines and everything so that they're no longer in the way. And then I'm going to build up the rest of the color with my gloss acrylics. And then the gloss ones, I think, just naturally have more of a luminescence to them, so that even if I can't give them a finish, the downside to a spray finish is it makes the card just in a minusculely thicker, and I don't know, it's fine, but I don't know. I don't like to spray everything with a gloss finish if I can. I like how it makes the colors pop. I think that it definitely has its place, but I don't know. I also just kind of like how it looks without the gloss as well. Just kind of like, bam, there's the paint in your face. Okay, now I gotta do that thing where I scroll again and see what questions I missed. Oh, none. Cool. Alright, so how much do I charge for custom specific cards? Well, I was kind of talking about this earlier. Something like this is just a straight-on paint extension would be $25. Something a bit more complicated, like a stripped extension, which I don't think I have any examples of on hand right now. I think they're all out in the world somewhere. Oh, no, here's one. So Charizard here. If you wanted to get your own sent in for this, this would be more like $40 to get it commissioned, with the buyer providing the card. But that'd be, stripped and extended with different mediums and stuff. And then partial extensions like this Trish here. I'll get you out of the sleeve. Like a partial extension like this would be about $20, because it's still taking some time to do partial stripping and stuff like that, but overall the amount of work is considerably less time consuming than the full arts. And this guy's also got some of that. I can't remember the technical word. It's not iridescent, but it's a fancy paint that makes it kind of glow like that. Anywho, any other questions? I know I mentioned I'd talk about materials that I use. So, yes, I use acetone to strip the cards. There are, let's see here. I, for the longest time, just got the regular Walmart brand acetone. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. I think this is like under $2. But then after getting tired of having to make Walmart runs to get more and more of these every time I'd run out, especially when I knew I'd have several like larger orders coming in back to back, I just went on Amazon and bought a bulk thing of acetone. So I've been using this year, and it's worked fine because it's, you know, still just acetone. And then when I'm actually working, I pour it into a smaller jar so that I'm less accident prone to, you know, knock over the big bottle and ruin everything in my day and then have a mild panic attack. And then I keep some Q-tips in a jar nearby so that when I'm stripping stuff, like, they're just on hand. But yeah, the tape does not rip the card. You just have to be kind of careful with it. So when I tape off a card, this is my favorite kind of tape to use. This kind, I have two kinds. This one no longer has its label because I've replaced it a few times, but you'll see how this one's like foggy and this one's clear satin. They're the same brand. This is just like the green one, the green Scotch. I accidentally bought this one time thinking it was this and learned my lesson, because this one, the acetone will melt right through and then you'll have a nice gooey mess, which is not fun to clean off a card that someone is, you know, expecting to look awesome when you're done with it. But this kind resists the acetone. Have no issues with it. So yeah, if you're looking at what you need for stripping cards, run to Walmart, get these two things. It'll cost you under $5 and Q-tips, and you're good to go. For working around levels and stuff when you're stripping a card, I used to use an X-Acto knife, and it's still a last resort if you like just can't get it to, you know, if you can't get it off, or if you're worried about accidentally rubbing off the levels, which if you rub off the levels, it's not the end of the world. I highly recommend people start off with test cards until they get pretty comfortable with the materials they're using. Oh, eBay notification. But more recently what I've started doing is actually mutilating my Q-tips. So after I use them and they're all like gross and gooey, I actually just cut it off at an angle, and then I can dip that little sharp point into the acetone and use that little sharp point to get around the levels, and then I don't have to bring any sharp pointy objects to the table, which is great, because then I'm less likely to accidentally stab myself or scrape with a card in a way that's not desired. Yeah, so those are that's how I go about that. How did I make the fire background? Okay, so I actually loved how that beret came out. I was really happy with it. That one was using that process I was just talking about, where I stripped the card, and then after it was stripped, I did the base layer with marker to give it that colored shine, and then I went over it with a matte acrylic to kind of give it that like textured smoky feel. And that's something I've really enjoyed doing, and that's probably one of my favorite parts about working on Pokemon cards, especially foil Pokemon cards, is mixing textures to get fun effects. So like the shiny fire background with the, you know, the gravelly matte smoke on top of it. But yeah, so that's how that happened. Let's see. What else you want to know? How long do you take to do them? It depends on the card, really. The first Neo I did, this took about 2 hours, and it went pretty fast because the background is super simple. So that's great. You know, it was mostly just getting my base colors down, color matching here, color matching the sword. But then, I mean, this was a really simple one, so that didn't take too long. Same thing with the red eyes that you guys probably saw already that I posted today. And then there are others that just take longer, and oh gosh, let's see. I don't have enough on hand to show us examples. I'm sorry. I want to say luster took me a little bit longer than that because I was building up so many layers to get that flat solid color. I've had some take me upwards of 4 to 6 hours. It just depends. The alternate artworks take even longer. I'm always like blown away by the people who can crank those out fast because I can't. I don't know if you guys remember the Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon I did a while back with the magic carp heads, but that one took upwards of 6 or 7 hours. It was much more involved. So yeah, my favorite altar that I've done, honestly, it's probably my Alolan Vulpix, which I've never put up for sale because it's in my permanent collection. Every now and then I'm able to actually do one for myself, and that's exciting. It's not like that complicated. I just absolutely love it. Like the kind of what I was talking about with the textures earlier that I geek out about. You know, this didn't show up very well in the photo I think I posted of it, but there's like an iridescent white over the foil, and it just kind of makes it like sparkly snow, soft snow coming down, and then the ice stone in the foreground. I don't know. I was just really happy with how this one came out. I have not altered an ash. Maybe that'll happen now that they're getting reprinted. Probably not because they're still expensive. I kind of touched about how I came up with doing this earlier, but I saw it was actually a big eye, the XZ, not the old creepy red one, that had been turned into a Magnemite. And after seeing that card, I was like, oh, well, I can alter cards. And actually, I started off with Shaddoll's. I did a full Shaddall core, main deck core, as my first big extension project. Like I did a Shaddall Hedgehog, and then one of my friends at Locals was like, dude, can you do my whole deck like that? And I was like, sure, if you pay me. And so that's how we got started. I have stripped part of a Link Monster. I haven't done a whole one. I did a partial strip on the Decode Talker. Those are not fun to strip because there are so many little pieces to work around. I haven't quite figured out how I want to proceed with those. They might cost a little different than a normal card if people want me to work around all of the little arrows, because it gets kind of tedious. I did play, I kind of talked about this earlier, I did play Yu-Gi-Oh! I have been a casual scrub most of my life. I played competitively during the Duelist Alliance era. I started off with Harpies at my very first regional, and of course got destroyed because it was Harpies. And then played Yosenju when Secret Forces came out, and then Clifford is what I eventually got my first invite with, and then my first top with, my first top 8. I'm not going to extend the Abronic, unless you want to send me one, but no, this is going in my binder with my Gungnir and my Trish. But yeah. But now I don't play anymore other than just casually with friends. I was having time management issues where I couldn't do both well. There just wasn't enough time in the day or the week because I, work full time and all that jazz too. But yeah, so that's my Yu-Gi-Oh history. Thanks, do that. Have you ever done 2 card alters that connect together? Yes. I haven't done a whole lot of them, but I've done with Altair and Vega and Yuke. I did all 3 of them were in the same setting with the colors between the 3 different ones kind of transitioning into each other for the galaxy background. I want to say there was at least another couple of those, but I'm not remembering them off the top of my head. It's been a while since I've gotten to do one of those. I did pick up a couple of Spirit of the Fall Winds a while back that I wanted to do something with. Oh, actually, on that note, so I have a sponsor a project tab on my website now, which is linked in my bio, because I literally have stacks of cards that I really want to do. Let me grab the Yu-Gi-Oh stack here, since I figure most of you are here for Yu-Gi-Oh. But I want to redo, this is just one of those cards that deserves to be done. I was actually thinking about doing this as a full art, the whole shebang. I've been trying to narrow it down between these 4 as, not you, the full artwork without, kind of like how I did the Pokemon cards as full art. I thought one of those would be really cool, to do. I was just, damn, the whole thing. But I've been wanting to redo the Shadal core just to kind of see how I've improved over the last few years. Same thing with Burning Abyss. I did post about that sponsored project thing a couple weeks ago, I think. But there are a whole bunch of cards that I really want to do, and it's just hard for me to justify the time for them when I have a lot of commission work backed up already. I actually started this one like the year it came out, so it's been a while. I was going to turn it into the dragon from the Neverending Story, and I've never gotten around to finishing it, which isn't a good thing one of these days. But yeah, like these are all cards I want to do, and I keep meaning to update my sponsor a project tab to include them, and I just haven't gotten to it yet. But this was another one that I had wanted to do as an alternate dual art. One of them's German, one of them's French. And what I was wanting to do was do like continue the background theme, I guess, and then have the leaves blowing across. But instead of having the fairy on here, I wanted to do an alternate artwork of regular Vulpix and Alolan Vulpix and have it gradually transferring, like transitioning from fall to winter. I just thought that would look really cool. Haven't had time, but you know, it's one of those back burner projects. I'm like, maybe someday. And I plan on putting that one up on my sponsor project page sooner or later, just as soon as I get time. Did you mess up a card you tried to alter once? Yeah, I got an example right here that'll probably make some of you cringe and be upset with me, but I'll show it to you anyway. I feel like every time I get asked questions via DM or whatever about altering, people are always afraid to ruin cards. The thing is, you gotta ruin a few cards to, like, succeed, because you learn best from your mistakes, because that's how you learn what doesn't work. You guys might remember this guy. He's still salvageable, but you might see, like, ignore this. This can all come off easily. I was just kind of playing around with different options, but I hate stripping golds. I hate it. They are the biggest pain. And I eventually was like, it wasn't coming off anymore. I could not get the gold border to come off. And I was just like, screw it. I'm getting out the X-Acto knife. And I went last resort on it and immediately regretted my decision because I scratched the foil. And I was like, oh no, don't. Why, Stephanie, you ruined it. Why are you a ruiner? And I had a moment with myself. And then I remembered, hey, you're doing a fun new thing with gloss paint. So I went over it, and you can't see the scratched foil anymore. So I'm still going to be able to salvage this, but I think I'm going to probably leave the attribute and the levels up there. It's also kind of cool. You can still see the Dark Magician. So it's not ruined. I'll still be able to finish it, but I just haven't gotten to it yet. But yeah, definitely, there's always the risk that you're going to ruin a card when you're learning. So that's why I always advise people to, practice on cards that are, 25-cent bulk commons or supers or whatever, that if it gets ruined, it's not the end of the world. I haven't had the issue where I was afraid to mess one up, so I didn't do it. Probably the closest instance of that was the Ghost Black Rose I did last fall, summer, some time ago. I was not quite sure where that would go, how that would turn out. And it was a Ghost Black Rose, so I was just like, well, we're gonna do it anyway. And I think it turned out great. So I don't know, I guess you just kind of have to trust yourself and the experience you have so that, you don't let fear hold you back from succeeding. A Secret Evolution Burst would be awesome. I think the common also looks great. That's the only one I have on hand, which is why it's in my Color on Me stack. But it would look even cooler in secret, let's be honest. I don't think Esper could be any more happy. Sorry, I'm still going through the chat there. This is my peanut gallery. They're here so that I don't feel like I'm talking to myself. Let's see. What's the first time you extended the art of the cards? The first one I did was in 2014, and it was a Shadal Hedgehog, and it was with markers. And I think it was just with markers I had laying around. It wasn't like I went out and bought fancy supplies for it or anything. I was just like, I could color on cards, and I started coloring on cards. Actually, if you're following me over on Vero, which I haven't posted on in the last few days, I posted that entire Shadal core over there a week or so ago, so if you want to see them, you can go check that out. I have not done a Dragon Master Knight, and I think that means I'm caught up in the chat. Alright, cool. Yeah. Wow, that was a really long monologue. Sorry. What else do you want to know? Something else, if you are starting out and looking to pick up supplies, I would highly recommend getting one of these Stay Wet palettes. I got mine off Amazon. You can probably get them at Hobby Lobby too, but these things are, it's it's like got a, oh, don't get the paint on you, don't get the paint on you. It's got a flat sponge in the bottom, and you can just add water to it, and it has these like palette paper that you can throw away once it starts getting too dirty. But if you're like me and can't just sit down for 4 hours and get a commission done, if you need to do it over the course of several sittings, yeah, the pack opening happened already. Sorry. They're all kind of hanging out underneath there. I pulled a Brionic. That was pretty great. But yeah, if you're looking to start and you don't know, if you aren't able to just sit down and crank one out, I highly recommend getting one of these. It has saved me so much paint, because then you're not just like squirting it on a piece of cardboard or on a plate and having it go to waste every time you're done for the night. It'll stay there, and then if you've already pre-mixed colors and stuff like that, it's still there for you to use the next day. It's pretty fantastic. One of the better purchases I've made in the last few years. But yeah, if you missed the pack opening, okay, not those, but we pulled a Brionic in the first Hidden Arsenal pack, and these were the other secrets from Hidden Arsenal, and most of those guys most people probably won't care about from the other packs. And these were just like the throw-ins that were in with the blisters, and then we also pulled a Messenger of Peace. But yeah. Would I do the artworks if your fans send you their cards? That's actually what I do. People send me their cards and I paint them. My prices and policies are on my website, linked in my bio. So if you need like a more detailed pricing breakdown, if you're trying to decide whether or not you want to get some cards done, everything is there, along with like my shipping policies and stuff like that. Well, yeah. For brushes, I am trying to organize all this stuff that's here. Sorry. For brushes, I don't use anything fancy. Got this jar here. Yeah, dude, like seriously, get the Stay Wet palette. It's so useful. For brushes, I got these. For the longest time when I first started, I just used like the old acrylic paint brushes I had from when I was a kid. And then a few years back, I got these precision paint brushes, which my camera isn't mine to focus on. Sorry, but they have different sizes and stuff, and you can see they're getting kind of dorky looking, but they've held up pretty well. Oops, sorry. They've held up pretty well over the years. More recently, as in like last summer, I started using the My Artscape brushes. These are on Amazon, and I really like these. I had ordered a different brand that arrived at the same time, and the other brand was absolute garbage. I don't even remember what it was called. But then I got these, and they were like $15, I think, for the full set, which, given that, like, this little guy, I got him, this is a Princeton, and I don't know if I'll be able to see that, but it got, like, demolished after only a few uses, and it cost me almost the same amount as, like, the whole pack of these rounds and fine liners from My Artscape. And the My Artscape brushes have held up really well, so I tend to reach for them the most now when I'm needing brushes. They clean up nicely, and they come in the right amount of sizes and stuff. I haven't had any issues with shedding or any of that. I would love to do a secret dark arm dragon from Legendary Collection. I'm hoping that I will pull one or that someone will send me one so that I can do that, because I've been wanting, I mean, it would just be so pretty. Like, I did a common marker extension dad a long time ago and loved how it turned out. I don't have any good pictures of it. I think there's one like pretty far down on my page, but I would love to do a secret one. That would be gorgeous. Let's see, how many cards can you do in one single day? It really depends on the cards. If it's just a simple marker extension, like a playset, or, I mean, it really just depends. I kind of calculate an average card is going to take me about 3 hours. So, you know, if I am not home from work and stuff until 6 at night every day, and then have to like do normal adulting things like make food and do dishes and all that jazz, you know, yay. Then I normally have maybe 2 hours in a given evening that I don't have other plans to work on cards. But I tend to tell people I can get their card turned around within a week of receiving it. That's my my turnaround time. And like my shipping policies and all of that for international and domestic are all on my website. But just a quick breakdown, if you're in the US and you order a card, if it comes to $20 or more, I return it to you with tracked first class shipping, USPS. If you're outside the US, I don't offer tracked shipping, but if you want to pay for any additional shipping stuff, then you're welcome to do that. Let's see. Do you find it easier to use larger size brushes? I don't actually ever pay attention to the brush size. Let's see. This is a 0. Yeah, I think most of them are probably a 0 or 00. This is why it's really important to take care of your brushes, guys. This was one of my favorite brushes for the longest time. If you are not careful, though, and like let them sit in water or let them dry upside down, or let them dry any way that isn't this way or this way, the glue in your ferrule will come dislodged. So take care of your brushes, guys, or else you'll have this problem. Still one of my favorite tips, though, so I haven't thrown it away. I just made a makeshift toothpick handle for it. Let's see, what are these sizes here? Zeros, 1s, 04s, 0/3. They're all pretty small. These guys are probably the ones I use the most. So yeah, a 0 and a 2/0 of the My Artscapes. Pretty small. Like, even if I'm trying to get like a larger background done, I still prefer to have the smaller brush so that the pigment doesn't build up too thickly. I'm not a fan of that. Oh, sorry, I keep bumping the thing. Have I ever made a mistake while doing the cards? Yeah. But thankfully acrylic is pretty forgiving. You know, if you screw it up, you can scrape it off and try again. Has everyone ever wanted to commission a I don't quite know what you mean by that. Have you ever tried altering a shatter, star, or mosaic? No. I haven't. I don't think you would get the result you're wanting out of it, though, because it's the shatter, foil, and mosaic. You know, like with a regular foil, the foil is underneath the top layer of ink, whereas with like a shatter foil or a mosaic, that's actually printed over the surface of the card, not in the card. So if I was like to strip it down, it would just be gone. So I don't know. I do Pokemon too. I have a few on hand here. Oh, literally just a few. This one was just done with a pen. This was cat. I didn't bump it that time, guys. That was the cat. This is done with Liquitex Basics acrylics. I highly do not encourage anyone to invest in that brand. It is garbage. I know some people can pull off amazing things with it, but shattered like a shatter foil. But yeah, no, that brand is absolute garbage. I don't understand why it's so popular. Like, this stuff has better pigment load than Liquitex Basics. And this is a craft paint. I don't understand it. But the Liquitex Basics, like the pigment load, the thing that actually gives a paint its color, is almost non-existent. It's mostly binder. It's garbage. But anyway, this one was done with paint with like, this was a mixed media experiment, actually. That's what it looked like at first. But then I went over it with pen and stuff to just kind of see how it would turn out. And then these guys. What's my favorite artworks I've done? Oh, goodness. Well, I loved how the Trish turned out. Both the full art and the partial extension. Most of the dragons. The Jump Blue Eyes, it's one of my all-time favorites. With, like, the space background. I did a Gravekeepers lineup a long time ago that I was really happy with. That was actually, like, the first set that I did that I had a where I did like the layered foil with the paint on, like the marker, and then the paint to kind of get like a galaxy effect on the super rare. Gosh, I'm drawing a blank on my card name. I want to say Royal Tribute, but I'm not sure if that's right. It's the one where they're like standing on the Phoenix steps and the pillars of flame, and they're like raising a tribute. Yeah, Royal Tribute. But like the background looked super. I was really happy that turned out. Yeah, puns intended. Okay. Most expensive card I've altered. Oh gosh. Probably, wow, I'm just spacing on names tonight. Phantom Knights of Shadowvale. No, that's the common. Oh my gosh, guys, what's the Phantom XZ called? That one, when it was like 80 pop. I did a couple of them. And that was not stressful at all. Do you got binders, the extensions, all colors? No, I don't. I hardly like, literally, like, this is everything I have for altereds and extensions, and not all of them are even done. Most of the cards I do are commissions, and after I'm done with them, they get sent out into the world to wherever they were ordered from. This is literally the extent of what and that's not mine. That's a commission, and that's a commission. I haven't posted that one yet. That'll be coming up down the pike. Some of these are for sale in my shop. Some of them I have because people ordered them and then never paid, and that's why I always require payment up front now, because of people who ruined it for everyone else. Yes, Phantom Knights of Breaksword. Thank you. Oh my gosh, I cannot believe I was spacing on that. Sometimes you just forget. Alright. I didn't recommend a specific brand yet, but I'm happy to. It really depends, though, on what kind of effect you're wanting. So earlier I was talking about matte versus gloss. My preference is for the gloss. Golden is my favorite brand, but these are kind of stupidly expensive because the pigment load is insanely good. Like, oh gosh, I'm happy to do a demo for you guys if you want, but like one drop of this has more color in it than like this entire little thing of Liquitex Basics. Like one drop of this equals all of this, because this is garbage. Do not buy it. Let's see. What did I do with that? Golden is by far the winner in my mind. Last summer, a company called My Artscape sent me a set to try, and I've been really impressed with these acrylics. They have held up really well. They have a gloss finish. They're great. The consistency is enough that it's like a thicker consistency. Here. One of the things whenever I get a new paint, one of the first things I do is swatch it out to kind of get an idea of how it'll handle. So, let's see. I actually have a phthalo blue in both of these. And Arteza, if you've been watching my story, recently sent me this huge box of acrylics to try out. I haven't gotten to play with them as much as I'd like, but somewhere in here there's a phthalo blue. There we go. So just for a quick comparison, when I get a new paint, I like to see how transparent it is so that I have an idea of how it's going to handle. And then I also always do a light mask test, which is basically seeing how well it will stand the test of time before the colors start to fade. That's not overly relevant for card altering because you shouldn't be leaving your cards in the sun anyways. But since I use my paints for my personal work too, not just card altering, it's relevant. So just like to demo this real quick, we'll put just like a drop of golden. And you see how like this paint will just keep going and going and going because there's so much pigment in it and it's amazing. And we'll take a drop of my Artscape Phthalo Blue. My one complaint that I've had with these is that the caps are not the best integrity. So like I've had issues with them getting a bit dried out on me. Take just a smidge of that. These have kind of it's not a full body acrylic, which Golden sells them in the fluid or the full body. But you can see how thick that is. And these also have a pretty good pigment load. I've been happy with them. I think I got about twice as much on my sample for this one than I did on the Golden, but that's fine. But you can kind of see how translucent it is. I put that black line down with a permanent marker or a pen that won't bleed. Just put the Arteza down. I haven't tested this yet with the Arteza, so I'm curious to see how it does. Okay, not bad, not great. It's not giving me nearly as much as the other two. You can kind of see how quickly it's running out. And then this is the Liquitex Basics, which is marketed as a phthalo blue, although look at this. That's disgusting. Ugh. I hate these paints. Sorry guys, my cat just was like, I'm gonna invade your space again. Okay, it's about the same size as the other. There's the Golden Glob. And we'll just kind of pull that down, and you can just see, I mean, like, it's garbage. It's absolute garbage paint. But yeah, so highly recommend the Golden if you're trying to get the most pigment for your buck. The My Artscape isn't bad. The Arteza isn't. The My Artscape's pretty good if you can figure out how to keep the caps from cracking and drying out. The Arteza is, the jury's still out. I haven't worked with it enough yet, but the pigment load's more like a student grade. And don't waste your money on this on the Liquitex Basics because they are junk. I don't understand how that brand is so popular. I also highly recommend the Holbein acrylic gouache. Gouache is a watercolor, but the acrylic gouache is basically just acrylic. Gouache has larger pigment, like the actual size of the pigment itself is larger, and this kind of paint is really good. The Zombie Master that I did a while back and the Charmander, the entire thing was done, both of those were done with this paint, and it has a really nice matte finish that I'm a big fan of, and the pigment in this is also really good. It's a nice artist brand, artist level. But the nice thing about the gouache is that it's like naturally going to be thicker and more opaque. So if you're trying to cover more ground faster, this will get you there. And because it's a gouache, you can also thin it out with water nicely, and it won't break down like acrylics do. You don't want to overwater your acrylics because it'll break down the binder in the paint itself. Instagram's telling me that I'm about out of time, so if anyone wants to jump back in, I can do that, but it's telling me it's going to cut me off in 8 seconds. I haven't tried